All right, what is up, people? We are back after a good little hiatus with another Monday Moffcast. Was on the road for the last couple of weeks, had some things going on. We had meetups, I was traveling, and we're going to be back to our regularly scheduled show and programming at least for the next 2 weeks before it's time to hit the road again. But I digress. So I want to talk about something that I probably have talked about before, but I think given some recent events, some things that I've been doing, I think it bears repeating. And I think uh, I'm going to start doing on this channel. I made an announcements on the community tab. If you guys didn't see that, I'm going to do more of the stuff that I like to do, stuff that's more about me, stuff that's more about like the masculinity, the fitness, the mindset, the leadership, all of that on this channel. And we're going to be moving all of the sort of dating content, the dating shows like the female POV and navigating modern dating to another channel, which is conveniently called at navigating modern dating. So that I'm actually going to grab the link right there. I'll put that in the chat. I'm going to be streaming to both over the next couple of weeks. We're really close to getting this channel to monetization. We got like 40 or so subscribers till we get to 1,000. So if you're watching this, if you're looking at this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, helps out a lot. Helps us to start to monetize, reach more people. Anybody who has a YouTube account essentially has a YouTube channel. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you think about the amount of YouTube accounts that are out there and then the amount of YouTube accounts that have 1,000 subscribers, it's like 0.001% or something crazy like that. And so when you get monetized, they push your stuff more. They have said, hey, this guy clearly is getting enough views, hits, likes, subscribers, whatever. We're going to start putting them in front of more people. And I've got something new that's in the works as far as a new project, new brand, something that I want to get kickstart over the next couple of weeks probably. And it's going to be taking up a lot of time. But doing this kind of content, doing shows, doing YouTube, it's all going to be part of that. I got a couple of irons in the fire. So a lot of good stuff, a lot of positive things coming soon. So subscribe to that channel. We'll move all the live shows over there in the next couple of weeks. But I just got back from an event in Nashville, the Muster, which is an event put on by the people at Echelon Front, which if you guys don't know who Echelon Front is, it's Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. Jocko and Leif wrote Extreme Ownership, and then they had a follow-up book called The Dichotomy of Leadership. And Jocko's everywhere. He's got like 3 million subscribers on Instagram. He's getting up at 4 a.m. working out. He's a Navy SEAL veteran, Battle of Ramadi. If you guys don't know Jocko by now, crawl out from whatever rock you've been living under and go buy that book. But they do events all throughout the year, all over the country. So I went to one of their field training exercise events in October, and then I went to an abbreviated version of that this week, and then the Muster, which is sort of their conference style summit, whatever you want to call it, assembly. And I think people like to throw around these tropes of, half the battle is just showing up. Once you show up, that's already 90% of it or whatever. I've heard that a lot. And it's basically bullshit. Showing up is just the baseline. I think this is what a lot of people get wrong. I think that this idea that I just need to show up and then that's good enough and things will just happen for me, I think that's absolutely a terrible attitude to have. And it's not even really founded in reality. I had a coach that used to tell me that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So when, just showing up, and there's pretty much 3 things that you have to do if you want to be recognized by people, if you want to be in a room with high performers, if you want to rub shoulders with people, if you want to be taken seriously by them. The first thing, the baseline, if you can't meet them and you can't talk to them if you're not showing up, right? You have to be there. So that's number 1. 2, you have to prepare for when you're there. You have to look the part, be the part, act the part. You have to have done the work on the front end for these people to look at you like you're someone they should take seriously. And so they will take you seriously. And then 3 is you have to actually apply yourself and you have to take action and you have to put your best foot forward. So these people will recognize that you are somebody that maybe, okay, you look like you know what you're talking about, but do you actually know what you're talking about? And one of the things I noticed for me is that I was in a room of about 1,000 people, and based on just the guys that were there, I was probably in the 1% in terms of physique and being in shape, and probably in the 1%, or at least maybe the 5% about being dressed. And I wasn't dressed super nice. I wore a polo shirt with slacks that was tucked in, belt, decent loafers, and that's really it. Most guys there, overweight, wearing clothes that are too big for them, jeans, sneakers, t-shirts, things like that. And the people that go to these conferences, it's kind of two sects of people. There are leaders and there are teams, and there are guys that will take their leadership teams, or they'll take their employees and they'll put them through the extreme ownership framework. And they'll use it as, because a lot of people use this as their actual problem solving and their HR standards and protocols. They'll use this framework, which works really, really well. And other people will go maybe by themselves to meet people, to network, to maybe they're just fanboys of Jocko, which those guys certainly exist. They want to get their book signed, or they want to shake his hand, things like that. More power to you. And so in terms of networking, for me, the better part was doing the field training exercise where they put you through scenarios and they give you this cool like laser tag system. I'll probably talk about that another time. But the idea is that over the course of those 3 days, the people that I found myself gravitating more towards, and the people that I found myself being able to hold conversations with and being able to talk about certain things and see eye to eye on, were not the attendees, they were the instructors. It were these people that were former Navy SEALs, they're Marine Corps veterans, they're these guys that have built businesses, it's these guys that are on stage. I got connected with the two people that run social media for the entire company. I have worked with now the third employee that they ever hired, who's their chief training officer. So part of that is being in shape and looking the part and getting into the right room. And then the second part of that is knowing how to talk to people, having the charisma, having the confidence, looking people in the eyes, shaking hands, and things like that. What's really tough for some guys to understand, and I think the reason a lot of guys aren't getting to where they want to get, is because, yeah, you can buy a ticket to a conference, you can buy a ticket to something, and which guy are you going to be? Are you going to be the guy that stands in line to meet Jocko? Are you going to wait for an hour for this guy to shake your hand and say what's up, and then he signs your book and you take a picture and that's it? Or are you going to be somebody that he's going to pull aside and he's going to go up to and shake their hand, like he did with me at the middle of 5:00 a.m. PT, and ask me how the workout was? I grabbed him after we did the jujitsu rolls. I didn't go with him, but we did jujitsu the last night of the conference, and it was only like probably 100 guys there out of 1,000. So it's like, are you prepared? Are you willing to put yourself in a room, in a situation where you can succeed, you can thrive? The kinds of things that guys do on a daily basis, that is going to be what prepares you or under prepares you for these moments in life. And there's so many guys out there that are just doing the same old stuff day in and day out, that are just getting up. Maybe you go to the gym, maybe you don't. You go to work, you go home, eat dinner, watch Netflix, and you're just living Groundhog Day over and over. And on the weekends, it's like, oh, I just want to hang out. I just want to relax, watch TV, watch sports, watch football, whatever playoffs are going on right now. I didn't even know playoffs were going on. It's like I'm just so out of tune with that world. And this is one of the things that I just think so many guys could benefit from, is just doing this idea of the daily improvement. And the biggest thing being your physicality. I'm telling you, people were looking at me as I was walking through the hotel, just like, oh, wow, okay. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, like, again, you guys have seen, if you see me on Instagram, you guys have seen in my face even how much weight I've lost. I've lost 80 pounds in under 3 years, probably like two and a half years or so, and probably going to take off another, 7 or 8 more and get to where I really want to go. But the things that I do and the performance that I do and these events that I put on and the idea of being a leader, and anybody can be a leader. I'm not a leader just because I have a community. I'm not a leader just because I'm on YouTube. I'm not a leader just because I have a couple thousand Instagram followers. Literally anybody can be a leader. And what the biggest thing I also noticed, so I'll tell you guys a little bit about the field training exercise. So there's about 20 people. You do some classroom work, and then you go and do like an operation. They have the attendees, and they give everybody like a laser vest and a laser pointer, laser tag gun. And then they have their role players, which are volunteers that are on their side. And these guys are like all super badass. These guys train jujitsu. Some of these guys are former Green Berets, and they're like on the SWAT team in their respective city. And so they're just smoking. And there's 6 of them, there's 20 of us, and they're kicking our ass every time, which is fine. That's how it's supposed to work. But you see the difference between these guys, the high performers, and then the guys who are attendees. And a lot of them are overweight. A lot of them are out of shape. And so, yeah, you can be a leader, but do you look like, do you act like, do you embody somebody who people are going to want to follow and help, who people are going to trust to lead? It's huge. If you can't lead yourself away from the buffet, how are you going to lead a woman? How are you going to lead your children? How the hell are you going to lead other men? You might be one of the smartest guys in the world. You might have all of this amazing insight. You might have all of these great takeaways, but it's like, I'm not even, if I look at you and I see that you're, hanging over your belt, and you've got this big fat face, and you're trying to, slam down Mountain Dews, I'm just not going to listen to what you have to say, because I just don't, I know you're not taking your own advice. So why would I listen to you? And so this is actually something that I did. This is the second time around. Now, I was the only repeat guy, and I chose to take more of a back seat. Like, I was not interested in having all the answers. I was not interested in doing everything perfect and saying, oh, you guys just step aside. I've done this before, so I know what I'm doing. It was a complete opposite. It's like, I want to kind of see what these guys are doing. I want to help. I want to be a resource. I want to fill in where I can. But I have no problem speaking up. I have no problem giving takeaways and sharing my experience with what is going on and being very open, because I've talked about this before. Most people, men especially, are looking for a leader. Most people like to follow other people. Most people are looking for someone to tell them what to do. And it doesn't have to be just like blind following somebody. It could be based on knowledge. It could be like, hey, this guy's got a body of work. This guy's done some things that I think are really impressive. This is a guy that I would potentially trade places with if I had the option. Cool. I'm going to listen to what this guy has to say, and then I'm going to follow, and then I'm going to do and replicate the things that he's doing, and I'm going to get great results. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying just because you're following someone that you're some slave or sheep or you're a brain dead idiot, even though those guys exist. Like, there's people out there that just like follow whatever certain people say, and it's always going to be that way. But that being said, I have no problem being the guy to stand up and speak up. And I think that when you're able to take that lead and when you speak up, guess what happens? Other people are more inclined to speak up around you. I'll give you a very quick example. So I'm getting involved with a dating experience company, dating events company, and it's in person. So guys will get together, and I'm kind of like a coach for these guys. And these guys will run through dates. It's speed dating, but it's not speed dating. So they'll go and they'll do the dating portion, and then they'll do sort of like the after party social hour portion right after the fact. And so it ends up looking like a high school, middle school dance. All the women are kind of bunching up, talking to one another. All the guys are kind of bunching up, or there's guys just off by themselves. And I pulled a couple of women after the last event because I'm just trying to get some feedback and say, hey, how did the guys do? Or what did you like? What did you dislike? And what happened is as I was talking to 3 or 4 women in this sort of group, I had other guys come up and join in the conversation. So by my willingness to open up this group and my willingness to talk to people, my willingness to go and just take that leap and open up this sort of set of women, all of these other guys started coming up because I did the hard part for them. And what most people think is that I don't want to speak up because I don't want people to think I'm stupid. I don't want people to think I'm dumb. I don't want to look foolish. I don't want to look retarded. And I understand that. Like, that's a legitimate fear. You know, I lived a lot of my life like that. I think I've talked about that before. But when I started doing it and I realized, okay, man, most of these people are rooting for you. Most of these people are just thankful that you're going to be the one to take the leap and that you're going to be the one to speak up and pipe up first. And then they'll follow off of you. It's like this game of telephone. It becomes contagious. And I was running the monthly call for the Brotherhood last night, and I kind of changed my approach. Normally, what I do for the first 15 or 20 minutes is I just hammer these guys with announcements. All right, here's what's on my mind. Here's what events are coming up. Here's what I've noticed. And then I'll open it up to the rest of the group. And it's kind of crickets sometimes. It's silence. And I'm going, why aren't these guys participating? And then I'm kind of realizing to myself, it's because you're just talking at them for 20 minutes. So I tried a different approach last night, and I was like, look, I'm going to try things a little bit differently. Why don't we just start with some wins? Why don't we start with some shares? Why don't we start with some successes? And one guy piped up, and then another guy, and then another guy, and then another guy. And we had 8 or 9 dudes share on the call instead of just one. And so that kind of stuff is contagious. So maybe that can be you. Maybe that's you taking the lead and speaking up. And it doesn't always have to be the right answer. But maybe if you're somebody that, if you ask earnest questions and you show up the right way. But the biggest thing I'm trying to drill home to guys is that preparation is everything. Preparation is absolutely everything. You're just not good enough. You're not skilled enough. You're not witty enough. You're not quick thinking enough to get the success and the results that you want and just pulling them out of your ass. You're just not going to be able to. And so part of what men really need to do is take advantage of these opportunities that are put in front of them. And nothing good happens on your couch. Like I was really on the fence on whether I was going to go to this event or not, because it was not cheap. And I think it was probably, I mean, I paid for, the tickets to the events, couple of $1,000s. The hotel, I mean, it was 4 nights in a hotel or 5 nights. I can't even remember. Couple of $1,000 plus then airfare. So this was a big investment, and this was a big leap of, okay, I'm spending this money. I need to make the most of it. I need to be able to get as much juice out of this fruit as humanly possible. And I absolutely have. And I went to this event and I started thinking about this new project that I'm going to be launching. And I've made a lot of good contacts. And I've made a lot of good connections. And there's hopefully going to be some really big things coming in the coming weeks, months, years from, this channel and this side of the internet and the things that I've been doing. And I'm really excited about it. But none of that stuff would have happened if I hadn't gone and put myself in that situation. Nothing would have happened if I just stayed here and did my regular routine. Yeah, I didn't go to the gym for a week and a half. I didn't train any MMA for a week and a half, but I was able to meet people and rub shoulders with certain people, learn new skills. I was able to expand the network. I was able to get guys excited about what I do and hopefully look at potential new members. And I was able to get a lot of clarity on a path forward as a guy who's been really stagnant probably over the last month or so, last couple of months. Things have been tough for the last 6 months, trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do next and going out and being on my own, 100% on my own. And you guys kind of know what happened there. And I'm really jacked up and I'm really excited about it. But I think what guys really need to understand is that just showing up means nothing. And I understand why, like, it's so easy not to show up that most people don't even show up. And so when you do show up, you're already like, well, I'm here and everybody else is at home. But think about it like going to the gym. You still have to do that. Like, first of all, most people don't go to the gym. Most people stay home. Like, all right, so that's already a victory in your head. But just showing up to the gym doesn't really do shit, because you can go and you can fuck around and fiddle around on a couple of machines and like go on the treadmill for 10 minutes and maybe do like some bicep curls. And you're like, oh yeah, you know what? I didn't really get a great workout, but at least I showed up. Like, that's fucking horse shit. It's horse shit. That whole thing about something is always better than nothing. It's like, actually, no, I kind of don't really agree with that. If your something is just dog shit And you could have actually used that time to do something else that was worthwhile or valuable. So if you're going to go and get into the gym, okay, first thing you got to do is show up. Cool. That's number one thing. Number two is you got to be prepared. Do you know what workout you're going to do today? Are you on a program? Do you have a coach? I still know guys that don't track their workouts. A couple months ago, I was working out with this guy, and he's like, "All right, well, I usually do this, I usually do that, I usually do that." And I go, "Okay, what weights do you use?" He's like, "Oh, I don't really know." And I go, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, I just kind of grab whatever, and then when it starts to hurt and I start to kind of feel the burn, then I'll just do random sets of this and that." I'm like, I'm like, no wonder you're small, no wonder you're weak, no wonder you're soft. If you're not prepared and you're not ready to go and you don't have a plan going in, I hate to use a trope here, but a failure to plan is a plan that leads to failure. Failing to plan is planning to fail. So going in and having a plan and saying, "Hey, I'm going to do this many exercises. I'm going to do this many sets. I'm going to spend this much time in the gym, give or take, because stuff sometimes takes a little bit longer than it should or a little less time." And then you go and then you execute. That's the final piece of the pie. You go and you execute and you get it done. You need all three. You need to show up. You need to be prepared and have a plan for what you're going to do. And then you need to execute on that plan. And no one's going to handhold you and no one's going to tell you to do it. You've got to figure out a way to do it yourself. Like, you've got to figure out a way to execute. So don't listen to these people that are sitting here saying like, "Hey, showing up is 90% of it." It's fucking bullshit. It really is. It's like, congratulations. You went to a place that most people won't go. Like, okay, you're now, let's say 80% of the people don't go to the gym. Awesome. Fine. Cool. So 20% of people go to the gym. Then out of that 20%, 10% of them have a plan. Then out of that 10%, maybe 5% or 3% execute. So, and that's a big difference. You're talking about, if you're talking about population wise, you're like, "Oh, well, at least I'm in the top 20%. It's the difference between being if it's a competition between men, you need to give yourself the best chance you possibly can to get opportunities. We talk about this, everything. Like, everything is like, money is finite. Money is finite. Opportunities are finite. Networking is finite. In this game of life, all men and all of you guys are competing for the same resources, the same status, the same jobs, the same money, the same women. We're all competing for the things that we all want. We're all competing for that level and that status hierarchy. And the only people that think we aren't, or that refuse to see that, are the guys that aren't actually in the game. So who cares what the fuck they have to say? But you guys have to get out of this mindset of, "Well, I'm here and that's enough," because it's really not. Because imagine if you were coaching somebody. Imagine if you had a buddy that was like, "Hey man, can you help me do XYZ?" Or you ask somebody to help you move, or you ask somebody to do you a favor, and then they say like, "Okay, I'm here," but they're not ready, they're not prepared, they're not wearing the proper attire, they don't have any idea of how they're going to be able to help you, and then they tell you, "Yeah, but I showed up." How does that help anybody? You hire somebody for a job and they say, "Well, at least I showed up. I know I didn't show up with the necessary gear or the necessary preparations, and because of that, I was unable to execute on the job, but you should still pay me. You should pay me 90%, because 90% of the battle is just showing up." So this is the kind of thing that most guys won't listen to. This is the kind of thing that most guys will say, "Oh yeah, well, I'm doing good enough. I'm doing just good enough." Most people want to be above average. Most people want to be in the top 10%, but they're doing the things that 90% of people do. They're doing the average things. Like, if you want to be extraordinary, you have to do things that the ordinary people are not going to do. It's literally the definition of extraordinary. And even, I'm telling you guys, even getting into this room, there was 1,000 people at this event. And a lot of them are probably thinking, "I showed up and that's good enough." Because they got to go back to their bosses on Monday, or they got to go back to their wives, or they got to go back to whoever, and they're going to ask them for a report. And they're going to say, "Well, I spent all this money." Like, if they went because their boss sent them, or HR or whatever, I spent all this money investing in you. What did you learn? What were your takeaways? How are you going to utilize this? And if they don't have a good answer, that's a real problem. Your wife says, hey, or your girl says, hey, like you're spending a lot of money to go to this event, and that money could be used for other things. That money could be used for our kids. That money could be used to pay mortgage. That money could be used for something that's going to benefit the both of us. And ideally, that's what you're doing. If you're going and you're investing in self improvement, you're doing it not only for yourself, but you're doing it for your people. And you come back and just say, oh, yeah, it was kind of like a waste of time. It's like, I don't inherently believe this sort of stuff is a waste of time. It's only a waste of time if you waste your time. Like, think about that. It's absolutely what you put in is going to what, and look, I've done this before, right? I've had every intentions of going in and doing some things. Maybe I'm traveling, maybe I'm going somewhere and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to record some content or I'm going to do things. And then for whatever reason, I just fuck around or I don't do what I'm supposed to do. And then it's like, yeah, that was a waste of time. But it's like only a way. Then you got to call yourself out. Say, nope, like that's my fault. I didn't take 100% ownership of my situation. I didn't go in with the proper plan. And that's why I didn't execute, because I got there and I decided I was just going to wing it. It's like, oh, we'll just figure it out when I get there. That's not a thing. So if there's one thing that I want to kind of leave you guys with is that get out of this mindset that showing up is any part of the battle. Like the battle doesn't start until you show up. How much you prepare dictates what percentage of the battle you need to execute on. Like if you're preparing like shit, then it's going to be really hard for you. Then you better blow some people away, or you better be able to really think on your feet, or you better just be able to, I mean, it's really going to be tough. You need to be able to prepare. You need to be able to execute, and you need to have contingencies as well. Listen, I'm not saying that plans don't fall apart. I'm not saying that things can happen and curveballs can get thrown into the mix. But those are all things that you should be thinking about. So when you guys are planning on going to events, when you guys are planning on coming to, meetups, when you're planning on going to things that you're going to spend money on that are hopefully going to help you develop more skills. And this is also playing to win. I don't believe that people are better off just letting money sit in their bank account and make a couple $100 a month interest, especially if you're a young man and you're somebody that's trying to move up in the world. If you're young and you have a lot of runway, your risk tolerance when you're young should be super high. The older you get, the more you have to lose, the more you should kind of lower that risk tolerance. But if you're a dude in your 20s, 30s, even like early 40s, you still got a long runway. So doing this whole, just punching the clock thing, this 9 to 5 thing, this whole idea of just I'm living every day and I'm going to like on repeat, and that's the way it's going to be. Like you're going to wake up one day and be 70. You're going to wonder where your life is. You're going to be on your deathbed and you're going to wish that you had just thrown caution to the wind and you had put yourself out there. So the people out there that are winning, man, are the people out there that have the balls to just throw shit out and see what happens. And it's not just throwing caution to the wind. When we say like burn the boats, take the risks, like jump in with both feet, it's not with reckless abandon. It's not, hey, I'm just going to jump in head first and figure it out once I get there. It's no, I have a plan. I have a direction that I'm going in. I've prepared, and then I'm going to execute on that plan the best that I possibly can. And then one of two things happen. Plan goes well, you execute, awesome. Okay, that was a success. How do we continue to build on that? Or I guess that plan catastrophically failed, wasted my time, wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Then it's like, okay, then you go back and you do a debrief and you say, what did I learn this time? What did I pick up on? What are the warning signs and the red flags that I may have missed? Or what are some ways that I could have prepared better, even not knowing what I know now? Maybe I should have thought about this. Maybe I should have thought about that. So now when I'm going to try that again, I'm going to try to go to another event. That's something that I'm going to take much more seriously. Preparation and execution is what it's all about, guys. If you're not willing to show up, then just don't even bother, right? Because that's fine. You're just going to be cannon fodder. You just don't belong. That's cool. Like if you're not there, you're invisible. If you're not there, you're invisible. But if you're there and you're not prepared and you're not executing, you're also invisible. So that's one thing I want you guys to think about and take with you is just show up in the best possible shape you can. Show up as much as prepared as you possibly can, know people's names, know what you want to get out of it. I like to kind of reverse engineer things. This is kind of like the final thing that I'll leave you guys with. Figure out and think about the outcome that you want from going to an event, going to a conference, going to a meetup, going to a retreat, anything like that. Signing up with a coach, joining a gym. What is the outcome, the dream outcome that you want? I want to sign more. I want to sign X number of clients. I want to 10X my business. I want to get a six-pack and get under 10% body fat. I want to lose X number of pounds. I want to leave with exactly 15 plus contacts. I want to practice my elevator pitch. That way I can deliver it. I want to leave and potentially have a conversation around a strategic partnership, whatever it might be. Start off with that and say, this is my goal. This is what I want to have achieved when I leave here. And then you can work backwards from there. It's like, okay, well, if I need to do that, how do I prepare? When I was selling Mets tickets and I was firing away calls, I knew that I needed to make 100 calls a day, every day. I knew if I made 100 calls, I'd have 20 people answer the phone. Out of those 20, I would have conversations with 10 of them. Out of that 10, I'd probably get 5 of them to stay on the horn for more than 2 or 3 minutes. And out of that 5, I would book maybe 1 or 2 appointments. So I knew that I needed to do that across the entire week. And I knew that if I could get 5 appointments a week, I could get 1 sale a week. And I knew if I got 1 sale a week, I could hit my fucking sales numbers. That's how I figured all that out. I said, okay, here's my goal. I need to have this many calls, this many meetings, this many sales, this many closes. So think about that, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your finances, whether it's in your fitness, whether it's your leadership, whatever you're trying to improve on, or whatever outcome you're trying to get out of going and spending money and spending these investments. Again, these things are only a waste of time if you waste your time. So take ownership for this shit. It's not on anybody else. It's no one else's fault if you're not getting value when you're going to things or when you're showing up to events. It's your fault and your fault entirely. Take ownership for what you're doing. And if you have an idea and you have a goal in mind and you work backwards and you figure out what actions you need to take to achieve that goal, you can't really go wrong. And the best part is, if you're a guy who's prepared and you have contingencies in place, people want to help guys like that. People would rather help out a guy that's in shape and that's buttoned up, that meets people, that talks to him, that looks him in the eye, that's charismatic, that's confident, versus a guy who freaks out because he's not getting his way or the world isn't fair to him. You got to take ownership of everything. So I'm really excited for the future and more things to come. Again, if you guys haven't, please go subscribe to the Navigating Modern Dating channel. Just put that on the screen right here. We're going to run the show on this channel tonight. It might just be me running solo. I know Spencer's going to be running a little late. I don't know if Eden's going to have power, TC's going to have power or anything like that. And I think he's running into some issues out there. But I would say we're going to be back full time. Should be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'd love to get more ideas from you guys on content that you want to see on things. You know, we're going to continue to do the Moffcast shows. We're going to continue to do these, but I also want to post some short form content. I want to bring in some collaborators. I would love to get Dr. Taraban on. I think maybe we'll get him on sometime in like July. Super busy schedule. And I'll get some guys from, you know, the Echelon front team. I'd love to have some guys on there and interview them, talk to them if you guys would be interested in that. You know, I'm looking at opening a ton of doors over the next couple of months and years. So all good things. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel and the Navigating Modern Dating channel. Tune in for the female POV in about 90 minutes or so. And we will see you guys on the next one.